markets. I have been in the rain. It is like torrential. In fact, my socks feel soggy, which is really gross. Um, yeah, I know most of the world is in summer, but us in Australia, winter. It is very much winter vibes today. But what is making me happy is I have a matcha in hand. I have had a coconut water, and I'm about to make, which excites me so much every week, my green juice. Whenever I come from the farmers markets, I literally get so excited. And I think your body learns on a raw food diet that it can feel incredible. As in, like, instead of craving something because it tastes good, you start to crave something because you feel good. And when you learn to teach your body to feel good constantly, consistently, it's an amazing way to live. Like, I think that's what's different about the raw food lifestyle is that you consistently learn to seek out foods that make you feel good. And that's a very different way of living as opposed to being like, I feel like crap. I can have something that makes me feel good for 2 seconds, like nachos or a hamburger or something, because you eventually don't feel good. But this, you learn, your body learns, and we have to teach it, right? So I have, let me just plug myself in here. We have ginger. Ginger is great for digestion. I also find it stimulating, as in it, I don't know, it's got a peppery type awakening, zingy feeling. Green apples, I love green apples because I have since I was a little girl. I think for some reason I've never been a sweet person. I like the tartness of the green apples. I love saltiness of celery. I'm like a green baby. I was born to be green. I've got celery. Now, in fact, usually I show you guys my farmer's market haul, but it's so wet that my dad came with me to help me this morning, and it's all still in his car because we couldn't get it inside. We got me inside and some greens, but that's about it. Hello, General Herb. What a great name. We have cucumbers. Cucumbers are literally like tapping into the most amazing hydration. If you eat a cucumber, I swear afterwards, when you're a raw foodist, you start eating foods and you feel things consistently as opposed to feeling like instant, like high from something stimulating and then a crash. You feel really good. Cucumbers are the food which if I munch on, my skin, and you must, I think it's got a lot of potassium in it. It seems to, you like tighten up and snatch and you are hydrated. It's amazing. These foods are amazing. Hello, thank you. I think it's all the food. Oh, now I don't have lemons or citrus very often at the moment if you've been following me because they're high histamine, but I do on Saturday mornings have, and I find limes, if you are histamine girly or boy, you will find limes seem to do better than lemons. And I think it's because for me and my mast cell activation is acid histamine foods so bad. I don't know what anybody else is like. I have a mast cell activation kit you can go off and get, which is in the description, which might help you. Mast cells are in the body, and someone can have like a a very specific allergy to peanuts from birth. Mast cell activation seems to be a histamine overload off the back of some chronic inflammation in the body. So that being said, people who have had COVID and then can't get better, they have bloating, brain fog, chronic fatigue, joint pain. Usually there's a histamine overload in the body. Someone can have that after, like myself, shingles. It can come up, it can display in many ways, ADHD, joint pain, breathing problems. But what I've found is histamine's in an acidic environment. The higher the acid, like in fermented foods, like apple cider vinegar is a very acidic environment, seem to just play havoc for me. So a cucumber 500 grams, that's a great idea. So Nick said I eat cucumber 500 grams half an hour before my lunch and dinner. That's amazing. That's a really good idea, actually. I think I need to do this. You can do pasta with zucchini. You can do pasta with zucchini or cucumber. I do have some beautiful dragon fruits from the farmer's market and some greens, but I had these in my bag because I pre-order mine for the farmers markets, all this produce. There's lots more, but it's in Dad's car. And those extra greens and the dragon fruit I got from a different stall. So, oh my God, my bag's still all wet. All right, we're gonna juice. We're gonna make my juice. I do this often if you've been on my channel before, but this, it excites me because it's all fresh this morning. I do have my electrical plug over here, so we can just get straight in, bring my juicer over. I do use a Nama J2 juicer. It's expensive, but hella worth it. If you juice as much as I do, it's amazing. If you guys can see it there. I'm gonna chop up veggies as well. I'm not affiliated with them, but it's definitely a good juicer. So, juicing before, after sleep. I love waking up. Lemon ginger is like the best. Oh, I love it. I love feeling like fresh. This is probably why I love this lifestyle so much, because I feel so fresh on it. But I've also got some parsley and coriander, any fresh herbs. Look how fresh they are. I'm so excited. Okay, now if you've been here before, I don't wash it because I pre-order off a friend at the markets, and he's washed all this and puts it straight into a box and brings it to me. So I'm like a really low maintenance person. Like I will do, it's not the bare minimum. It's just, I don't want my life to do things excessively that bother me. So if something was really dirty, but then again, I'm like put a little bit of dirt in because, you know, this is also spray free and biodynamic. So it's not even organic. So there's no sprays on it. The crunch. Oh, it makes me happy. I've already had it. Makes me happy. So I already had a coconut water this morning. So I always check the butt. See how clear that is? There's no dirt. So he's used his turbo washer or whatever for me. Oh, doing this back to front reverse is a little annoying. I'm used to the, oh, it smells so good. Bonjour. Hey, Lady Gaga. I was telling my dad that someone said I look like Lady Gaga. Someone said I look like Meryl Streep, Lady Gaga, and Sarah Jessica Parker. But I'm going to Lady Gaga at the end of the year. It's getting warm in here now. I go to Lady Gaga with my sister and one of my besties at the end of this year. She's coming to Australia. So that will be fun. Maybe I can twin with her. I'll be like, hey, bestie. Okay. We go from me being freezing. This is, I think, cold because I think it's wet. I've been out in the rain. So we're back. We're back. Hey, creative hearts. Yes, green juice. Sandra Bullock. I've never heard anybody say I look like Sandra Bullock. I definitely don't look like Sandra Bullock. You always look fresh. I reckon it's all the fresh food that makes me look fresh. Plus. I'm like waving my knife around. Do you know what else makes me look fresh and feel fresh? And it almost raining last night, middle of winter. The ocean looks disgusting. I swear, immersing myself in the ocean and nature, like going for runs out in the rain and nature, it all makes me feel like my best. Like, you know, I was an alcoholic at one stage. I was on a whole lot of medications. Nothing makes you feel like raw foods, like ever. Ever, ever, ever. It's the best. Okay. Yeah, so if you're just joining, we're doing Saturday morning here in Australia, green juice. It is the best. Gwyneth Paltrow, I can see anyone who has blonde hair, blue eyes, I get it. And she has blonde hair, blue eyes. So I see that people would see that, but like Sandra Bullock. We're gonna move this to the side now. I showed you guys this. It's like blocking my view. Up here. Where's I've lost my juicing, here. These go either side. So that's better. That's better. That's where we're at with this. I want some parsley. I would love to just sit in a garden and have my juicer out in a garden and just start pulling stuff and creating. We ain't there yet. Goals. I do have a matcha that's actually gone cold from this morning. It's now an iced matcha. Oh, a raw vegan celeb. So are you, JJ. Do you have solar system installed for your electricity? No, I'm in an apartment. So no, I would love to have solar and a garden and a compost and all of that. But I do this and look after myself and work so I can reach my goals, right? Never say you can't do something because there's part of it missing. So just because I don't have a compost or a garden it's like wherever you're at in life, how do I do what, if it's raw food or like what is going to make me feel the best? Because a lot of people come at it and they're like, well, I can't do that. I can't grow my own food, or I can't do that. They find reasons not to. I find every reason to do something. Like I have to throw myself in. But the benefits are so immense. So like when a lot of people give me like beautiful compliments, they're like, you know, for 44, you look really young, or you have lots of energy, or you bring good vibes. That is all because I do this. Like if I let the ball drop, no. Like my mood, my skin, my hair, it's all courtesy of the raw food lifestyle. So I don't know English. Do you know a recipe for tartar? I don't know what that is. Yes, no excuses. Yes, I always think like, I never thought about it before, but be and start doing what you want to become. Like, even if it's small, like I was literally, I say this, at rock bottom. I had disability money. I had no carers anymore, but I started to do and act like I wanted to become. Like where I am right now is where I wanted to get to. And I have other goals, but you can't skip. You can't wake up and just be gifted. Like people think, oh, I think my life would be better if, you know, I don't know. I don't know what people think, but like, if, you know, I guess people like if I had the right car or the right job or the right connections, all those people who have all of those things and become successful are constantly working on themselves. A lot of people who are very successful finance-wise state they never worked hard at their job. They would come home from their job and work hard on themselves. So they might be working at a post office or a bank, and it's not that they worked harder at their job, they worked the hours in their job and then they came home and they give themselves good food. They make sure they meditated, read good books, went to the gym. Looking after yourself has a very, very high value, which I never knew because schools don't teach self-care. They teach ignore your self-care, push through with coffee and study hard. And then when you finish studying, you've got 3 more assignments. Stay up all night if you have to do it. So wrong. This green juice is looking good though. It should have been green juices. You need to make sure your hair's washed. You make sure have relaxing time if you feel stressed. We needed that. You look good because you don't have a lot of kids. Okay, let's see how good I actually look. After 60 surgeries, 7 major organs removed, living in a bed for 25 years, being sick for 32 years, I think popping a kid out and actually moving around would have been a hella lot easier. I mean, my sister's never spent a day in bed because she's looked after kids, not that I know of. I think people can be a little judgmental. Do I look hella good? After being 37 kilograms, living in hospitals? But I did this. So I don't think I look hella good because I don't have kids. I think I look hella good because I look after myself. That's all. That's all I ended up doing. When I started this, I'll show you what I look like. Here. Vegan, cooked food vegan. Coping with alcohol, what apparently most of the world does. I actually stopped drinking here. I drunk 3 more times once I moved out of home. My hair had fallen out. I'd been through hell. Do I look hella good? Not judging. They're not facts. This is fact. You are judging because you have no idea. Do you think it's easier to raise kid or have 60 surgeries? So 60 surgeries had me in bed. No mothers are in bed after they have kids. Like, what the hell goes through people's heads? What do you think motivates me? If I was just like, that's crazy. I'm leaving this up for now, guys. Like, come on. If you know my journey, you know I've only been out of bed since I was 40. So no one has any excuses on my card. I don't know anyone on this live who's also had 60 surgeries and 7 major organs removed, including their stomach. Okay, and I'm still up here sharing. So that's a whole lot of crap. I think I would have preferred to lived my life and had kids. Yes, 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 yes. I did make steak yesterday. Actually, people liked that. Thank you. So my motto is, if I can come out of this at rock bottom at 40, after being sick my whole life with no carers, disability money, and I can pull this off. I don't think my sister didn't end up looking like this after kids. She has her hair. She was never in surgeries. She worked. So I don't know about this kid thing. The body's made to have kids. So I don't know. I don't think kids is an excuse either. This is what I think. If you have kids, you should have been in so much self-care that you actually thought for the next 40 years, you need the energy to look after a kid. If you didn't pre-plan that, that's your problem, not mine. So when people say I'm stressed because I've got kids, it's like you made that choice. I essentially didn't make a choice to be sick. Anyway, I'm going off here. Let's have a green juice. I've got a feeling this is going to spill a bit. No, I can't have kids. I've had a full hysterectomy. I can't have kids. So that's how sick I got. I've had glands, ligaments, fallopian tubes, uterus, cervix, all gone. They took out as much as they can to stop the pain that I had. So all right. I want to teach you how to make quiche Lorraine. Why would I eat quiche Lorraine unless you mean it's raw vegan? The reason I look the way I do and feel so fresh and energized and who, maybe you guys are my kids. Maybe if I had kids, I wouldn't get on here and help people, and that's why the universe didn't want me to have kids. Oh my God, this is so good. I get to become this. Have you considered adopting? You'd make a great mum. Okay, so as for a huge reason I think I stay well is because my whole focus now is me, and I've only been living like in normal world for 4 years. Before that, I was like in hospitals, so I don't think it'd be fair on me or kids. Like I'm really close with my nieces, and even I'm very reluctant to even get into a relationship. Possibly now, like it's been 4 years, but before that, because I just didn't know me. It's not really fair to have and adopt kids when, like, I feel like my full-time job is now, it's like I feel like I lived my whole life in a world where I never looked at who I was. And so that's kind of how I see kids. If I met someone who had kids, that would be different, but I don't think I actually think a lot about even bringing a dog in, because some days when, it's not that I get sick anymore, but sometimes all the memories of being sick come back. And when they do, I will kind of zone out And that usually comes up when I haven't been having as much fresher food. It's all raw, but I might have been like, I don't know, snacking on too many dehydrated foods or something. And so, and then this is about an animal. I've debated, but I have a small apartment. So that's kind of where I'm at. So, yeah, no. And you guys can ask me anything, but don't think, I think the thing that triggers me is don't think. I don't know who in this planet's been through more than me. I know there's a beautiful Australian woman who, but she even lived her life. Sadly, she was caught in fires. I can't think of her name, and she does the marathon running. She's very inspirational. But like, I didn't know life. Like from when I was 8 to when I was about 11, I was sick. And then from 16 up to when I was 40, like it's my whole life. Like I just don't know life, that can feel a bit daunting. But raw foods keeps me pretty positive. I mean, I guess I'm a pretty positive person to survive all that. I don't really want to, I mean, you can teach me how to make quiche, but I know how to make quiche. My skill would be to make it raw. Yeah, Gentleman's Corner is right. I wish I could put that up on the screen. Relationships are dangerous these days. So I'm over here working on myself, and I might fall in love with somebody, but what you bring into your world, and I think it's like your world essentially becomes your kids' world when you have kids, right? But when you choose to bring someone in, it's like choosing to bring in a whole lot of trauma. Because everyone has trauma, right? And that's what worries me more than anything about a relationship, is not the love and connection, but the other side of that, which is we're all working on ourselves. Am I strong enough right now for that? That's like probably a big thing for me. Hi, this is Noah Clark. Hey, Noah Clark. So is it a genetic problem or the wrong lifestyle? So I was born with a congenital disease called endostromatosis, which is, they hadn't seen before, a second piece of uterus attached to nerves and ligaments. I also have mast cell activation, which is triggered by the environment. But I mean, it's not really wrong lifestyle. I didn't really have a bad lifestyle as it's set up in the matrix. But the lifestyle I do now is definitely much better. So yeah, and I think it's really, even friendships, but friendships are not like, you can always cut, and it's not cut your friends off, but it's like they're not you. I think when the relationship, you really intertwine with a person. So yeah, no, I eat all raw food, so none of that really works well. But thank you for sharing. So, oh, this is really good. Like, to think that I saw, before I started seeing doctors for all the illnesses that I had, I went to naturopaths for years and I still got sicker. Because all they do is not only try and change your lifestyle, but they give you a ton of supplements and herbs. And that, for someone with mast cell activation syndrome, is not good. But also, I just hit lighting on. I don't know what happened there. Lighting off. Oh, I didn't know you could put lighting on. Okay, let's move this for now. But yeah, anyone who is sick. So I haven't seen a disease that being a raw foodist does not essentially fix a lot of. And a lot more of, like your mood, brain fog, which you've had since your teens, just goes. So it's like people get pushed into this lifestyle, cancer, MS, many reasons. But I think what blows people away the most is that like everything improves, not just like fixing one thing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you, Creative Heart. I don't know how anyone gets better going to naturopaths, taking all those supplements. This is how if you've heard how I healed myself, is because I was at rock bottom. I couldn't read or write because of FND. And what came to me is, Sky, you're going to have to do this yourself. When have you felt the best in your life? And what came to me was a osteopath who was a naturopath, put me on a diet of just veggies, as much as you can get in, veggies and fruits, and you can use tamari and salt. You do that for 2 days, and every second night you can eat whatever you want. And it was the first like naturopath in my life that had put me on a like healthy food diet, very basic diet, but with no supplements. Like, it's because the amount of energy my body takes, the only supplement I take daily is magnesium. And that's a lot of work for a very healthy body to metabolize. I don't know about these people taking, like, if you're sick, you want to get as much out of your system and just fresh and see how your body feels. I swear it's like a miracle. I say it's a miracle, and I always think about how it's just what we were probably supposed to do. Where is I'm losing things this morning. Here we go. I got more juice here. I always say you don't even have to take my word from it. It's worth trying. Yeah, no, and also I don't know whether people understand what the body has to do when you put a supplement in. It's not just it doesn't just go, boom, magic, you've got the supplement. If you want magnesium in like me, I'm pulling calcium from different parts of my body. I'm pulling hydration. I'm pulling potassium. I'm pulling all sorts of things which the science doesn't know yet to just get a few tablets of magnesium across. You start throwing in processed food, you're creating leukocytosis in the body, which is like that heating up and inflammatory response. And if you're sick, it's too much for the body. You start throwing in herbs, which irritate the system. It's not just, it doesn't go in and the body's like, la, I'm just going to keep doing. It just turns around and has to compensate. And so for me to even take magnesium is like massive. But because I look after myself so much, there's a small window that my body is allowing me to do. And I have a lot of respect for my body in doing that. I have no stomach. Stomach, duodenum, top of intestine, gone. Also, hydration this has all electrolytes balanced. So we're not talking about powders and supplements which continue to throw the body out while it tries to rectify itself and balance a strong drug which has been put in. This will assimilate without cause inflammation, but in my case I have no stomach, so it makes sense. Yeah, most people who have been chronically ill, especially if you've got mast cell activation syndrome, all the medications, what's in it, like cortisone or a antihistamine, whatever, the body, not the antihistamine, let's leave that, cortisone or excess vitamin C, your body may be able to have that and do better, but the delivery system will set you off. So that's why it's so hard when people have gut problems and mast cell activation syndrome. Is the answer might be simple, but how do you get it into a broken body without breaking it more? And the way you do it, raw foods, the body does not react the same. That's why it works so well. You don't get that overexcitatory response in the body where it's just trying to compensate. Like until you eat this way, you have no idea how much, and that's even fresh foods, how much even a spice in your life changes your personality and who you are. Like I had no idea. I'm every day consuming things like a McDonald's meal has so many different things in it, or even something that's, you think is it's not homemade, even it's sourced off a shelf. Like if I remember putting apple cider vinegar in and feeling like a completely different person. And that's all fine, but once you learn what your body is doing for you, have a very great respect. It's also nice to know who you are. Many raw foodists take D3 and B12 now. So if you get enough sun, you don't need D. And that depends because all over the world people have different amounts of D. And things like Chris Kendall lived in somewhere very freezing and cold, and his vitamin D got really low. So he uses mushrooms, you put them out in the sun for an hour and you increase the vitamin D by 500%. So it's just about learning B12. The whole world is supplementing B12 because animals are fed it. So people think they're getting B12 from meat. But yeah, I inject B12 once a year. So B12 is the other one. I inject it because I'm missing the part of my stomach which absorbs B12. You know, he did live somewhere else as well. It was in Europe where he was living in, I can't, but yeah, Canada he lives in cold places, but Chris Kendall was, when it got really low, he was in Europe. And so it's just it's not that I'm judging anyone, it's that I know for me how bad it is to just think that that could fix something, because you tip the body out. Yeah, B12, you need to take B12. And if you do get low in something, of course, take it, but it's better to find, you can't do that for B12. And also for magnesium is I have tried, but this really helps with my sleep and my gut. And it's like try, and if you still can't, then of course supplement. But like I think that's a great example, is you can just increase them. So back to the sun, when I went on raw foods, all of my blood tests healed, except the one sec. All my blood tests healed, and my vitamin D, they thought I was supplementing, but it's just because I'm always in the sun. But I really think learn as well what your body, I'm like, if people want extra vitamin C, instead of taking a tablet, try a vitamin, try having some carrot juice, or it's just so much less stress on your body. Yeah. So, in Arizona, it's sunny all year, but some people even get deficient. So I think I may have been deficient until when you eat a raw food diet, the enzymes and a lot of the vitamins are activated by sunlight. So you find if you eat a high raw diet, that all of a sudden vitamins start increasing because all you're doing is eating and drinking them. But also when you get in sunlight, it activates something. So it's definitely worth trying. Is that a quiet juicer? Yes, it is very quiet. The Nama juicer is very quiet. It's amazing. It's expensive, but it's worth it. I juice daily. It's just quick, it's easy to clean, it's part of me. But you don't need it to go raw. If you want to try including more raw foods, I say get a chopping board, a knife, a vegetable peeler, and dedication. Because that's, like, you can feel overwhelmed if you have to learn how to use machines and read things. Like, you want to find a way to do it easy, that tastes good, but and that's to start. A blend is always good, because you can make like nice creams and smoothies and chia puddings and all sorts of things. So, but like, it's just something, like, if you commit to something, it's like a reward system. It's like, because I've committed to eating raw foods, I'll get myself a dehydrator. And then, like, I've committed longer, I get myself a fancy noodle maker. Like, it's just like, if you don't go out, like, the people that I know aren't going to succeed, and I hope I don't offend anybody here, are the people that say they're going to go raw, but they're going to wait for their dehydrator, their blender, their juicer, and their noodle maker, and their 5 books to come. Because it doesn't work like that. Those things aren't going to get you raw. Those things are going to overwhelm you. You're better off to go, right, I'm going to go raw, but this is where I'm at. Today I might try a fruit meal or a raw pasta dish, or that is what the people that get. And then you might go back to your normal meal, but then you come back and you keep chipping away at it. In my experience, it's actually the work that gets you staying. It took me so long to learn this in life, and this isn't just about raw foods, because I apply this principle. To get to running, I had to walk every day, most days, for a year and a half after I'd been sick. But it wasn't like, you can't fast track that. We have to be the tortoise, guys. We have to be the tortoise. It's the slow and steady. And then I was saying, like, all my hair grew back, and and my skin is good. And then people are like, what do you use? And I'm like, it is showing up for myself every day for years that gets me there. It does. Slow and steady always wins the race. And like, you hear it, but there is no, any time I push myself, I end up with problems somehow. And I feel like on the way, when you start looking after yourself, you really notice when you go forward a bit and too fast, and you kind of break yourself, and your soul pushes you back, your higher self pushes you back. If I can gift a health trick to anybody, is that if you learn to look after yourself, life will look after you. If you dedicate yourself to making decisions of like self-love and self-care. So today I was freezing and raining at the market. And I was like, this is a day where I feel like a coffee. And it's only because I reintroduced coffee when I broke my toe. I had a couple, it doesn't work for me. But the strength it takes when Dad orders his coffee on the way back home to come home and choose green juice is not only strengthening my mind, and I think it's the cingulate cortex it strengthens lots of parts of your brain, right? But life rewards those who look after themselves. So if I did what, the drinking at night, the eating of foods, which are we're told is semi-good, so takeaway foods and stuff, is you don't get the rewards you get for coming in, chopping up the veggies, putting them through a juicer. Like, if my spare time is spent looking after me, when it comes to creating an ebook or talking to people online or attracting the right thing in my life, they just come over time, like the tortoise. They slowly just keep evolving. But if I dropped the ball, it's almost like you self-sabotage it all. Like, you start to feel a bit lazier, a bit slower. I'd rather just scroll today. And that's missed opportunity for in putting not only nutrients in here, but talking to you guys, talking to 3 people online where we've started to create more things. And then off the back of that, you have money coming in all different sources through the back end from doing things that you just love. And if I start doing things not like this, so my greatest gift to somebody and why I do this is, if you learn to look after yourself every day, life will look after you. Caffeine, it is such a drug. Caffeine is such a drug. It's so tempting. I can't drink it. The thought of it actually makes me shudder. As to all that acid that comes back up, and I was talking about, comes up the back of the nose, and then all of a sudden you're literally almost walking into bread shops. It just sets off part of the brain, and yeah, it's not. But you get reward. Don't think you're not rewarded for self-care. I think the way that we are accustomed to things like dopamine and responses, as in like the pleasure system in the brain, is we've learnt that it's like caffeine, boom, hit, gaming, boom, hit, alcohol, boom, hit. When you do this consistently, the rewards are so much more in depth and so much greater and so much in purpose. But you have to be the tortoise to just keep doing it, because with caffeine and alcohol and even most foods with the salt and the oils, which are concentrated, is you're getting your reward instantly. And you've learnt that from a young age, but then you crash with this. You feel great. You feel consistently great, but we've learnt to feel like crap, and boom, we feel good. And we think the actual caffeine is so good, but it's actually, we're just drug addicts, and it's just pulling us out of a come down. And with this, you're not coming down, but you're not going woo, you're just consistently feeling good. Like, the joys you get from laughing and hugs and good connections are so deep. But does not caffeine help one being awake? Yeah, but if you stop it for 3 weeks, this is the thing, there's 2 things to this. Yes, it does, but it's, why are you so asleep? That's the question no one's asking. Why is everyone so asleep? And I've said this before, if I ate a standard diet, I would definitely need caffeine. But because it's so sluggish, but I don't eat that. I eat energizing foods. So Coffee's so addictive because it's everywhere. So if just say, I don't know, alcoholism is still, like when I became an alcoholic, for the last 4 months of being sick, there's alcohol is only in limited spaces, and you battle it more at night because that's the conditions that you drink it, you've had it in. Caffeine is that bestie you've had since you're 16 that you wake up and it's the first thing you think of. And then when you get through your day, if you start to slump, it's you think of it again. Even in the afternoon, if you can't get through something, you've got your bestie, right? And it's everywhere. So you walk outside and you will see 3 or 4 people with coffee cups. You will smell it. You will see ads on television. And that is the part that is so addictive, because we're conditioned that way. But when you have this, you feel energized and I think things through. Like matcha, I've got a matcha here. Matchas are fine because they're consistent. And I don't tend to have 5 a day. I tend to have 1 or not even finish 1 in the morning. I haven't even finished it. It's not because you're not getting that like hit. That's got L-theanine in it, which is an amino acid, which makes the, I think it's the breakdown of caffeine a lot slower. So the body's absorption of caffeine is not so dramatic. I'm subscribing. I need power of green juice. Yes, like and subscribe. You do need the power of green juice. And why I prefer green juice over a sweet juice is sweet fruit, amazing, right? I got into sweet juices. You need to put a vegetable or a lemon or something in there. That blood sugar, you can have them now and again. But if you live off them, like I was doing, like your morning juice is sweet. Oh, I had blood sugar problems. Too many. It's like sustained. I had a high fat meal for the first time in 4 months yesterday. I felt the energy drain from my body. My mum said, oh, that's just a food coma. I get that every night after dinner. I know. It's like, but we've learnt compensating ways of we don't actually have. This is why there's that subconscious, right? Is most people aren't conscious of food comas because they've already decided they're having a chocolate bar after a meal. So most people say they finish a meal and they want something sweet. It's because they feel so terrible. They need like an uplift. And we were talking yesterday about how the crash out in a circadian rhythm is at 3 o'clock to 3:30 a.m. and p.m. And most people who pass away, who are chronically ill, die during that period. And I was saying that's the crash point every day. Everyone in the world, most people have woken up and had caffeine, and then they need the pick-me-up at 3 o'clock. And then whatever they have, it's usually either another coffee, a tea, a chocolate bar, or caffeine in it. Then the cycle restarts. You know, I believe we compensate. So we might feel like crap, but we've had a Pepsi. We've had a Pepsi with our lunch, and we love the Pepsi with the lunch because it's stimulating. We don't realize what we're doing. Berries as a dessert with double cream and peanut butter. So what about berries on top of a peanut chia pudding that I made yesterday, where it tastes good and you're sustained? We're just not used to being sustained. Hello, good morning. Ingredients here are 3/4 of a head of celery, 3 cucumbers, 1 lime or lemon, a big bunch of parsley and a thumb of ginger, and 2 to 3 green apples. I think I did 2 today, depending on the sweetness. And this is like life force. If you get into like, it's based off the Lemon Ginger Blast by Lou Corona, who has been raw for 50 years. He's 70, looks 40, and does like all these bench push-ups, and his skin is amazing. He's got his hair. It's like, because all the enzymes and electricity in the food. It's another great example. Stop drinking Shrek. What, wouldn't I be like more like Fiona? Hey, you're from Pakistan. Thanks for subscribing, Dean. Are you drinking pond water? No, this is better than pond water. This is like life force, guys. I'm drinking the force. May the force be with you. I love that. This is the force that Obi-Wan Kenobi or whoever he is was talking about. Sky, someone, Anakin, I don't know. I'm not really into it. I just hear the force. Let the force be with you. Is there an easier recipe? Yes, there is an easier recipe. So if you're new to juicing, I would do celery apple or celery apple cucumber or celery cucumber, but you're going to want some apple. So let's do celery apple or cucumber apple. That's what I would recommend. If you want to try different juices, as it gets into some, you could try my coconut water, green apple, and vanilla. I did a mocktail for the Europe mocktail party. That was really good. And that was just the juice, the water of a coconut, a fresh coconut. If you're new to this, start off with pasteurized coconut water, but eventually you want to try fresh coconut water. That is like the real deal. I think I did 3 green apples and a bit of vanilla natural flavor. Alcohol, they didn't have alcohol in it. I draw the line at getting vanilla pods. Like, I think they're like $15 for 2 pods, and that's just too much money for me. But there's lots of, in summer I did a series of I did like a princess cocktail, which was like watermelon, strawberries, and coconut water. But if you want to get into something daily, I would say start with cucumber and apple, or celery and apple. You can put a bit of, you can add to that as you get used to it. I usually have a French breakfast, which is coffee and a cigarette. I used to be like that when I was younger. Because you just, in the end, it's almost like, well, I was sick. I didn't want to put food in, but it was like, I just want something to wake me up. And you forget like who I was to who I am now. The juice is giving you gastric reflux. No? That was what coffee did when I tried to get it back, unless there's somebody else that's got gastric reflux. I had GERD. My GERD went. Greens get rid of GERD. I had terrible gastric issues because I have no stomach. Every person that I know on a health journey talks about how greens help their digestion, because it's alkalizing, and you're not feeding anything. As great as sugar is for the brain, sugar not only feeds us, it feeds all life. Like carbon-based life. They're carbohydrates. So you feed bacteria and yeasts. And that's all fine, but I noticed how great I feel with sugars mixed with greens. It just buffers. And plus my digestion's great now, but slower digestion because I don't have a stomach with duodenum. I just bought the Ninja portable juice blender. I have not heard of that. Yeah, that's a good one. Celery, cucumber, lime, ginger, kiwi. Do you want to know the trick? I'll tell you the juicing trick. Pick similar colors. So beetroot and watermelon are both red. If you want to do a veggie juice, tomato and carrot are both similar in color. When your juice turns out brown, it tastes brown. Like this is all green. Like I did all green. And you want in it, what I have in it is something acidic, which is like tangy. Most of the other stuff's watery. I mean, I'm complicating you now. If I was anybody, the best thing to do is so kiwi and pineapple. Like the colors are similar. If you go off that principle, you do so much better. Once your juice goes brown, your whole mood, how much color affects us as well. Like when my bowl is bright and amazing, I feel bright and amazing. And so when you make a dressing and you've combined something and it goes poo brown, we're not talking about like off-white or like turmeric. We're talking like it goes, unless you're intending to make a comfort meal like my stroganoff or something, which is like brown, but it's based off a memory of a comfort meal. Oh, thanks, Charles. Yeah, I don't have rum. Look, in actual fact, if people looked after themselves, I don't think there would be a problem with somebody having at Christmas. There isn't a huge difference between vinegar and alcohol if you look at the way it's made, okay? The difference is we don't drink a liter of what do you want to call it? Dressing at night. Is if somebody splashed a small amount of wine occasionally in their salad to use the probiotics and that are in that, because it is a fermented food, right? Is someone probably could get the benefits from it, but us as humans can't do that. We tend to find something like coffee or caffeine and we can't stop. So like if somebody said to me, you know, I use red wine vinegar and I just have some apple cider vinegar and a small tablespoon of red wine, it's my favorite salad, I have it 3 times a year, ain't gonna do crap besides give you some more bacteria in your gut. But us as humans don't do that. And plus I think there's a huge difference between commercialized wines and like someone's fermented something, and because alcohol occurs before vinegar. So in the state of things is if you sprinkle that on, it's just also it can have like a sluggish effect, but I don't think it's going to have that type of effect if you have a tablespoon. I'm not encouraging this. It's just that us as humans, I don't like people to see things in a negativity, because if we become acidic. In fact, I don't know whether I do it, but I've always said that if I ever had alcohol again, it would be only if I was in like France on a holiday and it was made on the property and it was like something small served with a salad. But even then, it doesn't something, I'd rather have this. Like this makes me feel like it looks electric. Oh, that's interesting. So alcohol is bad is a very general statement. We use alcohol as a disinfectant. So if somebody the reason I'm so high vibe is I look for the positive in everything. Because if I sit and go, that's bad, I actually start getting frowns and I start to feel my shoulders come up to my ears. So if you cut your toe and someone near me has a bottle of vodka, that bottle of vodka will definitely help clean out the oyster and the sand grits and all the bacteria that gets in it. Because I lived on the water, right? And so you'd get oyster cuts growing up. Is try and see the purpose of things, because there is a purpose. And I don't necessarily think caffeine is bad, because it still can be a plant medicine. It's stimulating. This theory that herbs stimulating the adrenals is different in any way to caffeine is crazy. If something stimulates an organ, it's no different, right? But people can't use it like that. So you've got to think, otherwise I feel like we sit in fear. That's my theory, is I have to learn to love everything. If I don't, I will find that little crack of something negative seems to grow. And that's just my consciousness, is everything on this planet has a value. You're better off learning how to eat this stuff which we're meant to and staying there. But if you decide like me to come back down and have more nuts and seeds and dehydrated foods, which are only a step away, is I have to learn to master and become almost a magician now. This is natural. Everything away from what our species specific diet is we are essentially becoming magicians. We're trying to play God. Is trying to wife Sky. Charles is trying to wife Sky. Did I get a marriage proposal? It's not even 9 o'clock. I need a wife like you. I think what we were talking about relationships earlier, and what's really interesting is I used to go into relationships, and I haven't had one since becoming this way, but I believe I can be a better person for my partner the more I love myself. Whereas I thought I was a better partner most of my life because of how much I tried to put into loving the person and didn't care as much about myself. So life, okay, alcohol like addiction and coffee, which is more, it is, and that's what I said. But I find my addiction tendencies are less if I find something a way to accept it. But there's no loopholes. You can't have a cut foot every day and stick it on. You can't have the same salad where you've made your own homemade white wine vinegar, which essentially would have originally still contained alcohol. it's that these things aren't thought of. It's like when a naturopath said to me, there is definitely a use for marijuana, okay? But you're supposed to just say someone broke a leg, okay, and they need it for a couple days, and that's the option, or opioids. So they've gone with the marijuana for a couple days, right? But then you never think of it again, except for 5 years later when maybe something comes up. When you think about caffeine or coffee or alcohol or marijuana consistently, like you're trying to think yourself into it, that's addiction and that's problematic. But I have found that making, and it doesn't, see, for me to say it's used, or alcohol's used on salads twice a year, it doesn't pertain to me, because I can make peace more with it not being in my life that way than it being addictive. And that's just my journey. But that's the thing is those things are on a shelf just like all the other herbs and whatever that naturopaths use. But if you consistently think of these things, that's addiction and you really want to stay away. But if someone said to me in my life 7 times I've thrown a dash of white wine vinegar over it because I love the taste, who cares? That's what it should be. That's where I like it to sit. I don't really crave a white wine vinegar salad. So I have to make peace that I don't actually crave that. You know, I probably at some level, being a past alcoholic, crave feeling detached, especially when emotions come up. But that isn't really about the flavor of a salad. That's more about how quickly can I have a shot of vodka. I'll give you another example. Is I was really sick on a plane. I have had on the way back from Hawaii, to the point I couldn't eat anything, but I was in a lot of pain and ended up with COVID. And the pressure in the plane was giving me a massive headache. And on hindsight, if I was kinder to myself and accepting, I would have asked them for a small glass of wine to get me through the end of the flight. And that would have been just for pain purposes, right? And yes, it probably would have set off some addiction, but I was really going through it. And I've made peace with that now. I've never been in a situation again where I would need that. I feel like a lot of people can find loopholes, but I am in this process of making peace with a lot of things. I didn't have it, and I really don't ever want to. And that's the difference, is if you want to feel sick to take something, that's problematic. But in hindsight, I was like, why didn't I just ask for a small, even like a spirit, like vodka or something, just because what's the difference? When I got off, I needed pain relief for 3 days for migraines. There's no difference. It's just I have to make peace with that for me. And then essentially that was like a break in case of emergencies. Like that's like you're in a situation you're not usually in. And the reason I do this is it makes me feel less anxious. It makes me feel better about myself, that if I ever got stuck again, it got really bad, to use it for what it is. But we're talking about, remember, I was in chronic pain for most of my life. One of the scariest things for me is going back into pain, because it literally just sets off a whole host of things. And I feel better about myself making peace with that, but I will feel better about myself never having to need it as well. No, I'm not doing ASMR. Not today. No, I'm more of a talker. It is 100% best to stay away. It's just that I think on that plane flight, I suffered so much. And in hindsight, if I'd had a small amount of something, I probably would have had, I just have to know every time I do something now, and this is just part of my journey. It's just that I don't want people to not think that something that God has created does not have a purpose. Even if it is to be so negative that it eventually benefits the planet. Like, because sometimes we need a bit of a cleanup, like a bomb, which sounds horrible, but there's usually a purpose. Everything has a purpose. And I'm in that process now, to be honest, is instead of being like, that person has that, they're bad, that's that, which is very like trauma based, I'm more like everything has a purpose. Like there's no way that life didn't evolve the way it did. Even I posted this reel that stated, since caveman times, even when we were getting our own food, the air was fresh, people lived till they were only 30. In the 1800s, when made, you know, buildings and industrial revolution and all of this, right? We still only, I don't know when the industrial revolution is, I'm saying that, but I think it was around it was early 1900s, wasn't it? Okay, so all that we done up until 1800 is the life expectancy was 35. That's all, 5 years. From caveman times where they find people who were eating all fresh food if they hunted something or they had fresh air, it was all organic. And in up until the 1800s, we only gained 5 years. So science and medicine do have a place, and I had to make peace with that because a lot of it isn't just what they do, it's what they say. Like after you go to the toilet, you need to wash your hands. They're just things that science has helped us learn. And a lot of it is childhood death, is we have, in fact, since things like vaccines have come out, we've actually lowered it. And I don't believe that they're good for you. I believe that now they need to be put on the back burner. I feel like we went really toxic and we needed to pull back or help society, but we're not supposed to keep going. And I think it might seem controversial, but the facts are the facts. People's average age now has gone up. For men, it's 70 something, and women it's 80. And that's only happened since the 1800s. So I have to make peace that there is some reason that we've jumped in life expectancy so much. And the only thing that has calibrated this is science and medicine. So everything plays a part. And when you stop fighting something, you watch how much you change and become a better person. Oh, I've got to go. I've actually got a client, but I'll probably be back on later. Bye, guys.